Hey, what's good? So I wanted to make a quick video on Etsy versus Shopify and really get into the real reason why people fail on Shopify. I know there's a ton of videos on YouTube about why people fail at Shopify, but I think this best explains it with actually showing some numbers and kind of get into how I think when I was trying to run all my Shopify stores and now what I'm doing on Etsy that's really making it a lot more profitable and easier for me. Okay, so first thing is first with Shopify, let's just check out their basic plans. So you have to pick a plan if you want to run a store on Shopify. So the most basic plan that pretty much everyone does to start out their Shopify store is $29 a month. And then they do have some fees in here, so about 3% plus 30 cents for a credit card transaction. And then a possible additional fee for using other payment providers, so another 2%. So on a $22 shirt, which we're going to use for this example, let's say that you get charged a little more than $1 in fees for that shirt sale on Shopify. So you're looking at $29 a month plus that fee. With Etsy, not as cool as a picture here, but a little spreadsheet here. So if you look at the second column, you'll see t-shirts at $22, and you'll see all the fees bolded out here, and the total fees are going to be $242, the number that really matters. And I'm going to say that's about double the fees that you would see on Shopify. So far, Etsy might look not as good as Shopify, but they don't have that $29 a month fee, but some slightly higher fees per sale on Etsy. But it is a free platform, so that's a bonus there. So the main difference between Etsy and Shopify is that Etsy is extremely good at SEO and getting your products out in front of people, whether that's on Etsy search or from other platforms like Google or something. You can see a ton of views have come from that, and you really don't have to run any kinds of ads on Etsy to have a successful store. So that is the main reason that I go on Etsy for all my print on demand selling, because the profit margins are still there, as we're going to find out in a couple more slides, but you get so much free traffic from Etsy. And this store is a screenshot from my first video. If you haven't checked that out, it will be at the end of this video, and also down in the description the link to that video on my full Etsy story of selling for over a year. But basically, I was selling on Etsy for over a year and then decided to open a second store in the beginning of 2020. And this is a screenshot from that video of me opening my store January 5th, and you can see my number of visits start to skyrocket here around January 11th, I believe, is when they started to take off. And you can see up here up to 380 visits per day, and then you can even see where my traffic is coming from. So here on the left we have all traffic from Etsy. 94% of my visits came directly on the Etsy app or pages, or through the Etsy search bar, or through their own marketing and SEO that Etsy does completely free for you and runs all of that for you. So very cool there. After a year of running on Etsy, I got really good at finding out how I could set up my product listings and stores and the products I made to get Etsy to work for me for free, basically. And you can see on the right here, which the numbers got cut off, it looks like, but direct traffic was from Google and Yahoo and other search traffics, which probably was like 5% of these 6% of visits. And social media was just from my own Facebook or Instagram that I put out there for my friends and family to check out. And Etsy's ads was actually zero. Have never tried Etsy ads. They may be really good, but I honestly have never tried them, so I wouldn't know. So as you can see, Etsy killed it in the first month of this store. 4,700 visits, all free, didn't pay for one ad here, had 129 orders, a really high conversion rate, which was higher than my other store that I ran for the year before this, and generated $4,395 in profit. And actually on this store, it wasn't a t-shirt store, it was a different type of product, but about 65 to 60% of the revenue was profit. So I did about $3,000 profit on the first month of this store running. Didn't run a single ad, just uploaded a bunch of cool designs and products on here. It was a print-on-demand store, but you can see how you can really scale on Etsy because they drive so much free traffic for you. At 4,700 visits, that would be 4,700 clicks on some Facebook ads that you would have to run to get your Shopify store any traffic, and you're looking at $1,000 to $2,000 to drive that many visits in Facebook ads. So one thing that Etsy does really well is just getting you this free traffic. I mean, if you set up a Shopify store, it runs under your own domain. So it's basically your own website that uses basically a Shopify plugin for the theme. So it's basically a theme from Shopify that's running just on a regular website. It's not on the Etsy domain website. So they don't do anything for driving traffic for you. If you set up a store and don't drive any kind of traffic to it with ads or posting it around on Reddit or social media or getting some influencers to post about it, you're barely going to see any traffic at all. So I now wanted to get into the second part of this video, which is why you fail at Shopify. And I'm not pointing out you in particular, it's pretty much everyone that wants to get into Shopify and tries to start it. I've started dozens of different Shopify stores, ran ads to try to get sales. Just so many things went wrong, honestly. But the biggest reason why you fail at Shopify, and I haven't really seen this anywhere on YouTube, and I'll break down the math and kind of just timing and kind of the psychology of why people are failing at Shopify, including myself. And this is just a general overview before we really get into it. So up front, you're going to pay $12 at least for a domain, and after 2 weeks, you're going to hit that big wall of the $29 charge per month starting after that, and no organic traffic, which I have mentioned on the last slide. Compared to Etsy, it's really almost zero. Okay, so now let's get into an example store that you're going to be setting up on Shopify and how you would run it with some Facebook ads and to get traffic to your store and make some sales. So let's say your Shopify store is set up great, you're kill it at web design, you have a really good looking store, have good text, made good fonts, colors, the layout looks really nice, looks really professional, it looks like a legit website, a legit e-commerce store where someone would want to buy your shirts. For this example, we're talking about shirts print on demand, since it is an easier platform or easier product to just start right away. You don't have to drop ship it from AliExpress and do all that. Just t-shirts, very basic. So let's say you're getting a 3% conversion rate, which is really good. If you remember my Etsy store first month, the conversion rate was actually lower. It was 2.7%, which I thought was really high for myself. So 3% is a pretty generous conversion rate we're going to give your Shopify store here. And let's say on Shopify you're making $12 profit per t-shirt sale. And you're also really good at running Facebook ads, and you figured out in these first 2 weeks of your Shopify free trial that you are getting 25 cents per ad click. So most people run just $5 a day ads, and for every 25 cents you're going to spend, you're going to get a click to your store. So now a little math comes into play. At $8.25 is going to be the cost per sale, since you need 33 clicks for one conversion. So you're going to have to pay $8.25 in Facebook ads before you get one conversion based on your 3% conversion rate, which doesn't sound so bad. You're making about $4 profit per sale, $3.75. That seems pretty good if you're running those $5 a day ads, which I would say that pretty much 90% of beginners are going to run only $5 per day on Facebook ads. So after running those $5 ads for 2 weeks, you're looking at $70 of ads run. That is going to make you 6 sales, which gives you $22.50 in profit based on your $3.75 profit per sale. So that seems pretty good for your first 2 weeks on Shopify, running $5 a day in ads. You set up your store great, making a little bit of money, but your domain you forgot about, you paid $12 for that. So your total profit is only going to be $10.50 after 2 weeks. Still, you're profitable, your store's off and running, you have a pretty good ad going. You're getting 25 cents per ad click, which is pretty good for a Facebook ad campaign. And yeah, I mean, you're off for $10 profit. But after that 2 weeks, you also forgot about your $29 a monthly charge. So once that next day hits after 2 weeks, your profit is actually only negative, it's negative $18.50. So this is why you fail on Shopify. After 2 weeks, you put in a ton of work designing your store. You had a pretty good conversion rate. You had good ads running. But when it's all said and done, after that 2-week free trial is up, you realize that you actually lost money after all this work, and what you thought was a very successful e-commerce store is actually costing you money. So now let's compare this to if you launched this store on Etsy. So just for this example, we're going to use 3% conversion rate again, even though my store didn't get 3%, but we gave our Shopify store a 3% conversion rate, and it's just a little easier to follow the math with a nice round number. So Etsy, your profit is going to be $1 less because of those fees on Etsy, but we're spending 0 cents per ad click because we're not running any ads. We're setting up our Etsy listings and store to have the best SEO that Etsy can set us up with, which, as you saw from my store's first month, they killed it for me and got me a ton of traffic with no ads. So also we are spending $0 in cost per sale because we need 33 clicks again or views on our store for one conversion. So at $11 profit per sale, because there is no cost for getting those sales because everything is free on Etsy. Our total after 2 weeks of ad spend is $0 again. So we made 6 sales, the same as Shopify with all free traffic, and our net profit is going to be $66. But our domain fee was $0 because Etsy, you don't have to have your own domain. They let you make a free account and run it on the Etsy domain. But Now you do have the 20-cent relisting fee per sale, which actually was baked into the original fee. But anyways, let's just say you lose $1.20, but your profit after 2 weeks is $64.80. So as you can see, I'm definitely on the Etsy train for starting new print-on-demand stores. It just makes way more sense because of the free model of Etsy and how they can get you all this free traffic. And many of you probably have failed on Shopify for all of these reasons. After all the work and stuff you have put in after 2 weeks, you found that your store that you thought was very successful actually wasn't, and you actually ended up losing money. So you think that $64.80 after 2 weeks is pretty good, but you forgot about my store, what I actually did. So the traffic amount I was using was for $5 a day in ads spend on Facebook. How much traffic my Etsy store would have gotten, and sales. So that would have got me 6 sales, but you can see actually I got 129 orders, so it's roughly 65 sales in the first 2 weeks of this store being open. Not necessarily looking at revenue numbers here, because actually on this store I was running different products which costed more than t-shirts. Just looking at the visits numbers and orders here, that you can see is much higher. So if you want to see my story on selling on Etsy for a year, and then how I set up a new store, which is this screenshot that we are looking at here, up and did this in a month, check out the video here, and also it's down in the description, as well as a step-by-step guide on how I did this on Etsy. And my favorite print-on-demand service, which is Printful, is also linked down below to make the best looking products on print-on-demand.